My name is Danielle. Maybe some of you know me, maybe some of you don't. I work for recruitment at the Faculty of Social Sciences. And today I'll be, Tegan and Sanjana will be joining us today. I will let them introduce themselves, and Tegan can go first.
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Tegan. I am in my final year within the Faculty of Social Sciences, studying in environmental economics and public policy. I'm doing also a minor in biology. And I'm very happy to be here with you all today. And maybe I'll do a fun fact about myself. I am a huge hockey fan. I am a huge Leafs fan, probably the only Leafs fan here in Ottawa. But if you're a Leafs fan, come to uOttawa. We'll be fans together.
Hi everyone, I'm Sanjana. I'm in my 4th year in the Joint Honors Program of Sociology and Anthropology. I'm also a mentor at the Student Experience Center and the president of the Student Association of Sociology and Anthropology. I don't have much of a fun fact right now, just mainly sticking in pandemic, but I hope you enjoy this presentation.
Wonderful, thank you. So as the name suggests, today's presentation is Life of a Social Science Student, which is why I am joined today by our two lovely students. So before we get started, we've been a year now in this virtual environment, so you probably already know these housekeeping rules. However, I will go through them anyways. So the way the presentation is going to work today, we're going to have about 30 minutes of presentation, interactive between the three of us. We welcome you to ask your questions throughout the presentation in the Q&A box. And then at the end of the presentation, we're going to have an open question and answer period. So throughout the presentation, if something comes to mind, feel free to type it in, and then we'll get to them at the end. Also, this is a virtual space. We're all respecting one another. So you are muted, and this is a respectful space. So please, please be respectful. If anything does go wrong, we will remove you from this presentation, just on a serious note. Okay, so let's get started. We will welcome you to use this platform. It's mentimeter.com. You can either scan the QR code or you can type in whatever mobile device you're using. You can enter in this link here, or you can do mentimeter.com and use the code. So I'll give you a couple seconds to log in. We have 3 questions just to get us started, and then we'll roll into the presentation. So I'll leave this on the screen for a couple more seconds. And then, okay, great. We already have some people signing in. So the first question, how are you feeling today? So great, not too bad. Okay, a little bit tired. So depending on the zone, the time zone that you're in. Oops. Most of us aren't feeling too bad, so that's good. I'm feeling not too bad as well. Okay, next question. So we want to know, where are you? What city are you in? What province are you in? Or what country are you in? So I'll give you a couple little seconds to answer that. Quebec, Ajax, Ottawa, Ontario, Nova Scotia. Oh wow, Trinidad and Tobago. Collingwood. Kitchener, Orangeville. Oh, I know Orangeville, yes. Yes, it is small, but I do know where it is, Newmarket. So if you're from the GTA, if you're from Ontario, we have some international participants, Brazil. Wonderful, thank you. Okay, last question to get us started. So we'd also like to know, what program are you interested in? So whether you've applied or you're still shopping around. So we'd like for you to tell us what program you're interested in. Criminology, psychology, political science, sociology and communications, modern language, a little bit of everything. Oh, a couple graduate students, PhD, psychology and linguistics. Great. Okay, wonderful. Thank you guys so much. We have one more question at the end. So if you didn't have the chance to participate, I will be sharing the link afterwards. But thank you. That got us started off started us off on a nice foot. Okay, so we hope one day in the fall you'll be able to come visit us. This is our social science building. For those of you who don't already know, we are the largest faculty on campus, so at the undergraduate level. With being the largest faculty, we have a lot going on. We're a big community. We have events, we have conferences, student associations, and it's really a great place to be. I know, as you mentioned, just briefly, some of you may have applied, some of you are thinking of applying, maybe some of you have your offers already, maybe you're still waiting on a decision. So we hope today that you'll be able to see a little bit more about the faculty through the eyes of our students. And within our faculty, we're divided into different units. So some of you mentioned the programs that you're interested in. We have criminology, economics, for example, psychology. This just means it's the unit where you'll be grouped into with your programs. But within that, there are 30 programs that you can take, whether they're joint honors or different programs within. We also have research institutes. So those of you that are interested in research, you'll be able to kind of get involved that way. We have research centers. So for example, some of the stuff going on right now is related to COVID. So we are analyzing some pretty current and contemporary issues. And then there's also research groups and laboratories that you can do and be involved in at the undergraduate level and then continue on to the graduate. So what are the social sciences? Essentially, the social sciences deal with complex social problems, and we try to produce solutions through research. A lot of the studies and the projects that are done within the social sciences are used by government. They're publicized in the media, and our professors work and engage with the media as well through fields like sociology, anthropology, economics, and criminology. So now I'll let Tegan say maybe a little bit what interests him about the social sciences, and yeah.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So a bit of a reason of why I chose the University of Ottawa. So in terms of the social sciences, the nice thing about our faculty is that with my program in environmental economics and public policy is that I'm really able to customize my degrees. When I was looking for a university, or when I was looking, one thing I was looking forward to when coming to university was that I could escape some of those, core classes you have to take in high school, the bios, the chems, the even those general business classes and econ classes you take in high school. In university, you really get to diversify. So while in first year, if you look at your core sequence, you'll see that some of the classes are rather general. It's very much just like you had in grade 9, grade 10, in that you'll come in, you'll sort of make sure that everyone's on the same playing field. But then once you've gotten through that first year, you really have the option to make the program your own and what it is. So I've been able to not only add a minor in biology, which again brings a sort of a whole new spin to that environmental aspect of my major, but then I'm also able to add in an option. So I added an option in urban studies because I'm really interested more particularly in applying my environmental economics in more of an urban planning type setting to hopefully build cities one day with the sustainability and the environment in mind. So that's sort of how I've been found that I was able to apply my program. And I was only able to do that by picking this type of program at this university and being able to customize it really in the way that I want to customize it.
Thank you. And Sanjana?
The main reason why I chose the University of Ottawa is because of the bilingual nature. Even though if you're like me, my French wasn't the best in first year, but being in an atmosphere where you can learn, where things are written in both English and French really helps with you learning another language as well, which is really particularly unique about uOttawa. And in terms of my program, sociology and anthropology, I was very much interested in studying people, different social groups, different cultures and things like that. And uOttawa specifically specifies in cultural anthropology. So that really helped my interest niche. So that's a main reason why I chose sociological and anthropological studies in uOttawa. And on top of that, as Tegan was saying, there's diverse courses that you can take. So in my first year, even though I was taking predominantly sociology and anthropology class, I was still able to use my electives to take a wide variety of courses, such as some courses in art or some courses in political science. So it was really diverse in allowing me to choose different programs.
Thank you. So wherever you guys are in your decision making, we hope that you're able to learn a little bit more again in this presentation. There we go. So these are just some alumni I just wanted to point out, just to show you that no matter what program you take and or path you end up choosing, your career and different graduate studies is well within your reach at the Faculty of Social Sciences. So we have people that have gone on to be in the global media and marketing realm. There are some in e-commerce. There are some that have continued their graduate studies at well-known universities like Harvard. Political science and any other program as well can lead you into a law degree or any other professional programs, whether it be law, education, or medicine. And then we also have in-house legal counsel at Netflix. So one thing I'd like to mention just very briefly is that at the Faculty of Social Sciences, we also have a workshop series or a conference series called Meet the Future You. And throughout the semester, we host a variety of events where we invite alumni to come and speak to you about their path and what they've been able to do after their program. All right, so now we're going to start talking about first year. So what is that going to look like? Come May, you're going to be registering to your courses. You'll be able to pick your courses based on the course sequence. I know a lot of you are probably wondering what our courses are going to look like in the fall. Right now, what I can say is that we have courses that are offered asynchronously. So the classes are posted online ahead of time and you're able to access those recordings. We have some that are offered synchronously, meaning that you log onto your computer at a specific time and a specific date, and you'll be able to access the lectures live from your professor. So it's like you're in class, except for it's just being offered online. At this time in the fall, the Faculty of Social Sciences will be offering a little bit less than half of its courses in a bimodal approach. So that means a class is going to be split. There are some people that are going to be able to be on campus in class, and then the rest of the class will be able to access that same course online. So that's what the bimodal means. It's that essentially it's a class split in two, kind of like a hybrid. More information on which classes those are going to be will be posted in May when you choose your courses. Again, well, not again, but the bimodal approach will be dependent on the situation in the fall. So that's why it's what I can say right now, but more information will be posted throughout the summer. In terms of what your first year courses are going to be looking like, you'll be having a lot of introductory courses. So depending on the discipline that you're in, you'll be introduced to those courses, but also you'll have a lot of room in your course sequence to choose electives. So we encourage you to take a variety of elective, whether they're within our faculty or in other faculties, just to kind of dabble into different interests. And one last thing I'll mention on courses is that we do have a registration help center. So when you are going to be picking your courses for the semester, you can talk to them. More information will be shared with you and they'll be able to go through your course sequence with you. So I'll let Sanjana continue on to the next point.
So don't worry, because you won't be left alone in your first year to fend for yourself, because we have a lot of support systems at uOttawa, such as the FSS Student Experience Center. As you may remember, I mentioned before that I'm one of the mentors there. We are just consisted of different mentors who are upping your students in a wide variety of programs in the social sciences. So if you're ever stuck in your first year and you're confused or anything, and you can just come and approach us. You can send us an email or visit our office, which I assume will be open in the fall. If you can notice, I'm in the FSS building right now, and on the side here, this is where the FSS would be kind of located, and you can just drop in and it's less scary because we're all students as well, so you can just approach us and ask us any questions. And some of the stuff we offer is, of course, like one-on-one support systems where we can talk about some tips and tricks that we wish we knew or that what we learned over our course of years within the program. As I said before, we are also specified in different programs. For example, I'm the mentor for sociology and anthropology, but there's also other mentors from psychology, criminology, political science, economics, etc. On top of that, we also offer study groups where for your first year classes where you can study with other members in your class if you don't know them yet, and it will be facilitated with a bunch of questions or games to help you get to know your course material a bit more and offer a new way of studying. And we also offer various workshops on study tips, time management, note-taking tips and all this stuff, and it will really help you get prepared for the rest of your academic year. And on top of that, we also have a bunch of resources on our website or in our office where you can use to make your calendar or plan out your schedule as well. And yeah, so the next portion here I see is the student association, and as you may know, 101 week still happens and is run by the student association as well. So of course, when you return to class on fall, you can sign up for 101 week and various classes, programs, or various social or academic events throughout the year. What these student associations are is they're basically the student councils of your program, and each program has a different association. So some of them are mixed together. For example, political science and international relations are mixed together in one student associations, and make sure to connect with them to stay connected to your program and your peers in your program as well. On top of that, it'll offer you many experiences and opportunities to network outside of like job opportunities or with your professors or even with other students in your program who can share a bit more information too. So it's definitely really fun. And lastly, what I'm going to mention is you can also join the student association. I definitely joined it when I was in my first year, and is run through campaigning and elections. And yeah, it's a fun time.
Perfect. And sort of I'll finish off the slide here when it comes to work study. So I am actually in my 6th year of my program, 6th and final year. And since first year, I have been doing a work study. I've been part of the work study program. So I can attest to the fact that the work study program is a fantastic way for you to gain real world work experience while working at the University of Ottawa. So if you're concerned maybe about finances, if you're concerned about building your resume, if you just want to change it up and be on campus, but are worried maybe about having to commute far away. Maybe you're from Ottawa and you're working currently right now in a fast food joint trying to make money, but you're worried about commuting from Barrhaven or Orleans to Ottawa. And then getting to class, and if you wanted to come to class, this is a great way for you to sort of bridge all that and ease all your concerns, because you can be part of the uOttawa community by working for the uOttawa community. So I'm a student ambassador, so I work under the recruitment and liaison tab of the university. And in this case, I would be the one giving the tours. I attend different recruitment events. There are some opportunities for me to go to Toronto for the international fairs. So the recruitment events and the things that I've been able to do through the work study program vary depending on what program or what job you end up getting. But if you are interested in becoming a work study student, they match up with your class schedule, your exam schedule. So you will never have to work during exams. You don't have to worry about booking it off because they just do it automatically. Again, it's a great working environment. I've been able to meet plenty of students that I would have never normally met, that are from faculties and programs all across our campus. If you want to build connections on campus, build your resume while you're at it, and then make money, this is a great way to do all of that while being still on our campus and still feeling a part of the uOttawa community.
Thank you guys for your input. So first year is mainly getting your footing. We've kind of just gone over the main things to look for, but there is more chance to get involved in your second year. So assuming, you're kind of, well, not assuming, but you've done the first year, you're going on to your second. In terms of academics, what will that look like? You'll be taking second level courses. So most of your courses will begin with the 2000 level, but within that, you'll be building on what you've learned in your introduction courses. You'll be able to apply what you're learning through various means. One of the initiatives that we have, it's called the Venture Initiative. It's really interesting and really worth your while. We have a list of courses that are posted on the website. We can share that with you after. But what it is essentially in your class, you're going to be partnered up with a community organization or business. And throughout the semester, you'll be liaising with them, finding out what challenges they're facing, what problems they have, or what they're encountering. And it's up to you and your team to propose a solution. So you'll be working with them throughout the entire semester. And then at the end, you'll be able to showcase your solution or your project to your peers. And there'll be also judges there, and there'll be a chance to win. So at the same time, you're going to be learning about what's going on in the community, in that course, in that subject matter, and you'll be applying what you've been learning. So you'll be taking your elective courses or courses that are outside the faculty or outside your discipline. Within that, you might want to start considering a minor. So essentially what a minor is, it's 10 courses tacked on to your program. It depends on what program you're in. Some of them allow you to take a minor, some of them don't. But this might be something you might want to consider. For example, as Tegan mentioned earlier, he added a minor in biology. I'll let Tegan take over this slide.
Yes. Okay. So yet another thing that I added on to my degree is co-op. So there's two ways to get into co-op. If you haven't applied to the University of Ottawa yet, you can do so upon applying. If your program does offer co-op, you'll see it. It's indicated on your uOttawa application. You'll be able to sort of check off a little tab there that allows you to add it to your degree. I would advise going to check out the uOttawa website for co-op if you wanted to learn about some of the requirements when getting in, because there is an average you need. If you've already applied and you didn't apply to co-op off the bat, it's okay. You have a second chance to do so. In your first year, you can apply. Again, there is an average, I believe it's around a 6.0 GPA that you'll need at the end of your first year in order to be admitted into co-op into your second year. Typically, how it works is that you won't start your first co-op term until the summer after your second year. And then you'll be rotating on a 4-month on, 4-month off basis. You'll be doing 4 months of work with a firm, an NGO. It could be here in Ottawa, it could be internationally. It could be back, maybe if you, again, a lot of you are from the GTA, it could be back in the GTA. There's tons of flexibility, which I'll get into in just a moment, but you'll be basically working for 4 months and then you'll come back to campus virtually or in person, depending on where we're at, at that time. Well, at that time, let's fingers crossed, this is a couple of years from now, we'll be back on campus, let's say that. And you'll come back to campus and you'll study for 4 months, then you'll go back and you'll work for 4 months, and it will be sort of on and off until you finish your degree. Typically what that means is that your degree will be extended by 1 semester. So instead of finishing off in 4 years, you'll finish off in 4.5. So you'll have 1 extra semester. And that's typically how it goes for most students. In terms of the opportunities that are available to you with co-op, I can just speak on my experiences. So I've done co-op. It was a very rewarding experience. Between that and work study, I've been able to pay off all my debts. I went on 3 vacations. And this is not maybe a lesson on how to budget your money, but nonetheless, you can still, I went to go on vacation and treat yourself a little bit. I went to New York City, went to Vancouver, Florida for 2 years, all thanks to some of the money that I've attained through co-op. You can make up to $40,000 over those four terms. So again, it's a very rewarding experience, but leading up to that, you're be inundated with workshops and sort of preparatory emails and booklets and pamphlets preparing you for your first term. So these workshops will teach you about how to write a resume, how to sell yourself, how to gain confidence when talking about yourself, and so on and so forth, so that you're prepared not only for these interviews that you'll have with employers, but even these are skills you can take with you outside of the university. So once you've graduated and now you're ready to find a job and sort of really apply your knowledge and your degree and your skill set, you have that experience to fall back on. Not all programs offer co-op, but there are other ways which you can get involved, as Sanjana and Danielle had already mentioned, and will continue to mention throughout the presentation. From my experience, I was able to interview for some amazing companies. So through the University of Ottawa, I was able to interview through many different departments within here, but also with the Government of Canada. So I did an interview with Polar Knowledge, which was very, very neat. This is a group that works solely in the Arctic and Antarctic. They basically look at different research vessels. They do core sampling. And again, I can apply my environmental economics in that way. Probably one of the ones that I was most scared for was with the United Nations. So I interviewed twice with the UN, once for their environmental headquarters in Kenya, and then also for their International Trade Commission in Vienna, Austria. So again, two very nerve-wracking but very rewarding interviews. Again, what I tell myself is that if I can get through those, I can get through anything. And they prep you. So you'll have mock interviews ahead of time. And then in terms of what I actually did, what I actually chose to work for, I did choose a couple of times to work for the University of Ottawa, and I've had very rewarding experiences with that. But I also did the National Research Council of Canada, where I got to work in internal auditing. And then I also did national defense, and that one was a very rewarding one. I was able to work on building military bases across Canada that were sustainable, that dealt with energy efficiency, that made sure that we protected little turtles that were nesting on the property. Again, very rewarding experiences. I've gotten connections and job offers from both of the government jobs that I've worked with since. So I'd recommend investing some time and some energy into looking into that if you haven't already.
Thank you. But if you haven't done co-op, or by the time time to apply rolls around, and or if you're in a program that doesn't offer co-op, that's okay too. There are still a lot of other ways to get involved. So I'm going to mention this briefly. We have the Community Learning Service Program. It's run through the Michael Jean Center for Global and Community Engagement. What it is you can pick courses, and this is a part of your course. You will be volunteering within an organization or a business again that you'd be partnered through with that center. So they are able to organize the placements for you. You're able to, again, build skills, increase your network. You'll be writing a project at the end. And it's a way to gain practical experience through the courses that you're taking. At the end of your stint, I guess, or your placement term, whether you do this each year and or for a couple courses, you're able to request a co-curricular record. And essentially this will attest what you've done, and you can submit that to job applications, to postgraduate programs, to employers, and you can put them on your resume. So it is a rewarding experience as well. I'll let Tegan take over the research.
Yeah, so I'll make this brief here because we could go on about research for a long time, but research is something that is not just for STEM students, not just for the science and engineering students, but us in the humanities as well. We can get active in research. And through my experiences, I've learned that you can get active through research in many different ways. So just touching on what's on the screen here, you'll have field research courses. These are something that's more unique to the University of Ottawa Faculty of Social Sciences. So within the faculty, you'll have opportunities throughout your time to actually embark on off-campus sort of excursions through field research. This may be something like what a lot of criminology students will do when studying inmates in penitentiaries. Maybe it's somebody who's in economics, and you'll be able to check out different financial markets in Toronto or New York City. Again, the options are really endless, and they vary year to year, but you can have an opportunity even to go international as well. In terms of Europe, this is a very, very special program in terms of research. In order for you to get access to a prof one-on-one to study under university-led funding is very hard to do in your undergraduate degree. Typically, this is more common for students in the graduate and PhD programs. But here at uOttawa, we have the UROP program, which is the Undergraduate Research Opportunities Program. So as I was mentioning, you're able to work with a prof one-on-one. You are able to get funding. The prof also gets paid for their time working with you. You get to really hone your skills and learn about the world of research in a very constructive setting. And through that, you're, again, able to put that on your resume. There's a symposium at the end where you'll present your findings of your research that you and the prof did, along with all the other students that are in that discipline or in that area of interest. Again, it's a very rewarding experience. There's more information online about that. But in terms of research, if you don't even know what research is, it's okay. I had no clue what research. It was not on my radar. For my first and second year, I wanted to sort of get acquainted with classes and just university life. But if you are interested in research, you can do so by one of these programs here. So looking at field research courses, maybe you're in a program that already has research integrated into it. So in economics, typically you'll have seminar research classes, directed research projects, which I both attended. You'll also be able to do Europe, as I mentioned, or maybe you just like a prof. So currently I'm in my final year here, and I had a prof that I really, really enjoyed. I took his class last semester. I'm taking it again this semester. And I just reached out to him. I said, hey, can we have a meeting? I really like the work that you're doing. You're in health geography. I'm not a geography student, but I have a passion for it. So could we meet? Could we talk? And through that, I'm now working with him in his lab on prenatal health of childcare workers, building a national survey for childcare workers across Canada. And I'll get my first publication in a Canadian health journal this summer. So I'm very excited about that. So really the options are endless when it comes to research. Just take some time, look at some of the links that we have online, and ask questions to anyone that you know did research.
And I'll just mention this very quickly because we kind of mentioned it throughout all of these points. Everything that you're going to be doing, whether it's starting from your second year or beyond, they're all things that just keep in mind, keep a mental note, jot them down, because you can put all these skills on your resume. There's a lot that you're doing in class as well as throughout all these opportunities, time management, working in teams. So just keep in mind of everything that you've been doing, and they're a way to build your CV. Or your resume. All right, so we've kind of gotten the main steps of the second year out. We'll talk a little bit about third year as we're winding down this presentation, and I know we have a couple questions in the Q&A box, so feel free to continue asking those. What to expect in your third year. So there is a lot in third year. You're kind of like over the hump or in the hump of your program. You've maybe taken most of the introductory courses, research method courses, and you might be considering an option. But within academics also, but also there are opportunities that are available to you. The Faculty of Social Sciences has their own international office where we offer international internships, field research courses, and the Model United Nations course. Within these programs, for right now, they have been continued to be offered just virtually or remotely. So hopefully, fingers crossed, by the time you guys are in your third year, you will be able to take part in these opportunities, because they are, again, a way to put what you're learning in class into actual practice, whether it's through an internship, if you're thinking of taking those jobs after university, or if you're considering pursuing research after your degree, whether it's through grad studies or otherwise. Within these, you're partnered up with a professor, and then you help them with their projects abroad, and or you're with an organization abroad. And I'll let Sanjana mention the Model United Nations course, because she's currently in it now.
Remember when we talked about how uOttawa offers a diverse courses that you can take? Well, Model UN, it's experiential learning where you can kind of role play as a diplomat, and normally throughout the semester is held in the winter semester, and you and your class are given a country and you prepare your work and topics on a particular topic that you're given in the beginning of the semester, and eventually you work your way through the class, and at the end of the semester there's a week-long conference, normally in person. This would be in New York. So those of you who are going in this year, you might have a chance to go and participate in the New York Model UN next year. But as of now, we're having it on an online basis where you collab with other universities, and it's just a giant conference of where you kind of pretend like you're a diplomat at the UN and you're given a country, and it's tons of fun. We had a smaller conference this weekend actually, where we collab with Quebec universities to do a Quebec Model UN. So it's a very good experience, especially if you're interested in international relations or working for the United Nations. So I really recommend this course.
Thank you. I think it's Tegan now. We could just briefly touch on other opportunities that you can do in your third year. I know we kind of mentioned most of them, but we'll just quickly mention and then we'll move on to the next slide.
Yeah, so as Danielle was saying, there are other ways that you can get involved, and I mentioned that before. So if you can't do co-op, if you aren't interested necessarily maybe in doing research, you can always take part in different classes that are designed to get you out of the classroom. So Walls to Bridges is a great example of that. That's a criminology class in which students are able to go sit in a penitentiary with inmates, and it's a very close quarters setting in which you're able to hear from the inmates and their experiences and then apply that to some of the theory that you're learning in class. So again, a very rewarding experience. And then you also have internships. So a lot of our programs will offer internships. So if your program does not offer co-op, as I was mentioning, you can do other things. In the summer, there's lots of different internships that come up through the faculty specifically that you can take advantage of as well.
Thank you. All right, so we're kind of winding down here. What to do in your last year? I'll let Tegan start us off.
Yes, there we go. So in your final year, you'll see in your course sequence. So if you haven't looked at a course sequence yet, I advise that you go just type in uOttawa course sequences into Google. You'll be met with a page that has all the different faculties. You pick social sciences. You find the faculty. You find your program within the faculty, and you'll find all the classes you get to take that year, or throughout your whole degree. You'll see that in your final year of studies that you'll have a lot of classes that pertain to discussion-based or seminar classes or research projects. These classes are typically held in a smaller setting. So instead of being in a larger class, you'll have maybe anywhere from 20 to 5 people in the class, and you'll be able to discuss with your professor more of a one-on-one setting. And you'll be able to really delve deep into your interests. So typically these research projects that happen during these seminar classes will allow you to use all the skills and all the classes, all the knowledge you've obtained for those last 3 years in sort of a final project. So for me, I was really interested in forestry when I did this class and the forestry industry. So I was able to apply all of my environmental economic skills and my macro microeconomic policy into learning about Canadian forestry industry, and then doing a presentation on the industry and how we can sort of equip Canada to be a leader when it comes to sustainable forestry. And so again, this is just one example of the many different examples that come across our campus, and students, no matter what program you're in, will have an opportunity to have these types of discussion-based classes.
And Sanjana, if you wanted to finish us off with what type of options there are for students in their last year.
The options are really incredible in your last year of university, as I know, for example, I'm in my 4th year and I get a lot of emails from the university on career fairs or specified lists and things like that of what you can do with your degree. I know in social sciences is very open and you can really go into whatever field you want to. So it's really helpful that so don't worry if you're worried in your first year that you don't know what to do yet, because eventually you'll get enough resources to kind of explore around and figure out what path is best for you, and attend a bunch of conferences or panels such as this, where different people from different occupational backgrounds kind of talk about what they are in and what they're doing, and that's very much available in your 4th year as well.
Thank you. So we're going to break this up a little bit before our Q&A session. What career, if you know already, that you think you'd like to have or that you're aiming for after your studies? Again, you can use the QR code for those that are joining us late. You can either scan it or type in the address there with the code or with the link. And once you get to the question, just let us know either what field you're interested in going into, if there's a job specifically that you would like, and or if you don't know, you can just simply say you don't know. And that's okay too. We'll wait a couple seconds. And in the interest of time, if we don't get too much, we will just, you don't know, that's okay. That's okay. A little bit shyer this time around with the questions. Oh, there we go. Therapist, criminal lawyer, interventions in prison, sustainability expert. Well, there you go. A little bit like Tegan in terms of environmental stuff. Journalist, something in government, diplomat, a couple psychologists. So across the board, really. Great. Well, thank you for taking the time to answer. Policy analyst, journalist, biochemist, elementary teacher. Great. PhD program in criminology. Wonderful. Okay. So some of the, as you saw some of them already, and for examples that we had at the beginning, your degree will get you into a lot of different professions, whether it's policy analyst, like some of you wanted to, graduate studies, researcher, professor, outreach worker, foreign service, and or diplomat. These are all available to you throughout your studies. So you're at the right place, I guess. Quickly, I just wanted to mention the financial assistance, and just so that you know, some of you that are applying right now, there are admission scholarships. So I encourage you to apply to some of them that are still open. Some of them have already closed, and or continue working on your average, because we do give you admission scholarships based on your average, which is 80 or above. Then there's also a lot of opportunities to get financial aid and assistance throughout your 4 years. We have over $400,000 to give. And you apply to different scholarships throughout using our portal there, the online scholarships and bursary portal. So I'd like to finish this section off with takeaways, kind of a resume of what we've talked about before we get into the questions. I'll let Tegan start off with his points.
Yes, perfect. So for my takeaways, I'm going to focus on the ones sort of by the picture there that talk about carving out time to study and taking care of yourself. Sanjana mentioned a lot of the resources that are available to you. It's just really important. One thing that I've really learned through my years here is to take advantage of some of the resources that are out there for you. The University of Ottawa, because of the fact that we're such a tight-knit community. So a lot of people have a misconception that because we're right downtown in a major city center, that you need to take a subway and a streetcar to get from class to class. But once you're on campus, you'll see very clearly that we're really like a small city within the bigger city. The campus is compact, and we have a lot of students here. So in Canada, we're actually one of the bigger universities. We're 44,000 students roughly. So that really makes us, like, I think it's the 84th largest municipality in the country. So that being said, having that kind of a compact campus with the number of students that we have gives you a tons of opportunity on campus to form close relationships with people, and also to find people that have your niche. When you have 44,000 people on campus, you're bound to find other people that have the same interests as you and that are able to form clubs and initiatives and groups and programs, again, that relate to the things that you want to do. So take advantage of that. Time management is always very, very important, as I'm sure you've learned already through your own education. But in university, things do pick up, as I'm sure you've heard. Things do get sometimes more intense. And in order to take on those new initiatives, take on clubs, maybe a work study position, maybe international exchange, just planning yourself time to do all of that and planning into the future. So what I did, one thing I'll just say really quickly, what I did is I looked at my course sequence, I looked at the classes and the things that I wanted to obtain in my 4th year. So what are things that you want to do by the time you graduate? And then work backwards. That's the way that med school students typically work. They look at, okay, well, what do I need to get into med school? Okay, I need all these classes. Well, then how am I going to do that? And they work backwards. Law students do the same thing. So if you're interested in being a diplomat or a psychologist, what are the things that you need to do in order to obtain that career? And then just work your way back. And that's sort of how you can structure sort of a fail-proof system that works for you and that allows you to have some fun while doing it.
Thank you. And I'll let Sanjana remind you of a couple of the resources that are available to you in 1st year and throughout your studies.
Remember that it's okay if you don't know yet your whole future or anything like that, because we do have a bunch of resources and things to help you find your path. One way you can take advantage of this is to, of course, experience different things as much as you can. Take advantage of the resources such as the Student Experience Center, as I mentioned before. Also, to take care of yourself, we have some health and wellness services as well to make sure that you're taking care of your mental health and health. So make sure to take advantage of those too. We also have the Office of Undergrad Studies who are basically your academic advisors and can help you with your specific path and your courses as well, looking at your course sequence and all that stuff. And then finally, the student associations, which I had mentioned earlier. And with all these things combined, for those of you who don't know what you're going to do yet, or you don't know what path, or you're a little bit stuck, all these resources are there to help you to kind of find your path and for you to explore. And of course, university is a place to learn. So that doesn't just mean academic learning. It can also mean learning about yourself, your own interests, what career paths. So remember that even though you don't know your own structure or anything like that, you can, of course, like take different courses, play around, talk to different people from different programs, such as different mentors or your academic advisor, and you'll really find what is meant for you.